Do you ever find yourself starting a new game and being so mesmerized by the amazingness of it, and it's the only game you play for a while? But then, all of a sudden, you stop playing it, and almost forget about it entirely. Or maybe you play a game a lot, and then you don't feel like playing it anymore. If either of these statements resonates with you, you know that if you have found yourself in this situation before, you might be wondering why we do this. I know I sure was. That is why I started doing research for this video, to have a better understanding of why I do the things that I do. When we think of burnout, we typically think of hard tasks or jobs that we do repeatedly that can cause us stress and anxiety by doing them. And while a lot of people wouldn't consider gaming burnout to be a thing, it is starting to come out that more and more people are getting burnt out of playing video games. So what is being burnt out of video games? It is when you're not finding enjoyment in playing games and feeling bored and like you don't want to play them anymore. This can be caused by many things in your life, but it is most likely a result of repeatedly playing games each day. This is especially true if you keep playing the same game for numerous hours a day for days in a row. In some cases, feeling burnt out of video games can make us feel anxious because we have spent countless hours of time and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on video games. And if you all of a sudden aren't having fun with them anymore, you start to question if it was worth it to spend your money and time on something so fleeting. But don't worry, this is normal to have these thoughts going through your head, but before you start to act on these thoughts, take a step back from gaming and think on it for a while. It's okay to take a break if you need one. Another big reason for not finishing games is because of analysis paralysis. This is when you have many decisions you could make, but there are too many, and you want to make the most optimal choice from the options available to you. In doing so, you may not come to a decision at all, and then not playing anything, when really playing or finishing something is better than nothing at all. When you keep having to do this because, say, you have multiple games on the go, and you like them both equally, but you only have a limited amount of time to play them, you may be able to make that decision at first, but then you start thinking and weighing out your options, and wondering if one will provide a better experience than the other, and then all of a sudden, boom, an hour and a half has passed, and you have done nothing but waste your time. After having to make many decisions in a row in, say, your job or school, when you come home and have to make a choice on what to play, this is when choice fatigue can set in. This results in you being exhausted from making decisions, and then the overall quality of your decision-making deteriorates, resulting in worse decision outcomes, such as not playing games at all or replaying games that you've played many times before, when you could be playing games that you have started and could be creating memories with them. Part of your gaming experience depends on what type of person you are. Whether you are a maximizer who wants to make the absolute most out of your time, which can mean comparing your options to see what will bring you the quote-unquote optimal experience. This can be a particularly big problem if you have a big backlog of games that you want to get through or finish. This leaves you having to weigh out all of your abundance of options, and then you might end up spending an hour deciding what to play, and at that point, your gaming time could be almost over. Satisficers can still have trouble making decisions, but they don't need the absolute maximum value for their time like maximizers do. They can choose to play a game that meets their needs in that moment. Even if they have a game that they are in the middle of, they can more easily choose to start a new one, even though it is likely that by finishing a game, they would get more value out of their time as opposed to starting a bunch of new experiences. I find myself more in the Satisficer category, because I often start all of the new games I get, but it takes a lot more thinking to choose a game that I have started previously rather than hop into a new and exciting game that I have never played, which is a large part of the reason that on my backlog of over 80 games, I have at one point started all of them. Now I am trying to course correct and finish the games because I know that by just playing new games and not continuing with games I have previously bought, I could be missing out on very amazing experiences. This actually recently became very clear to me with Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I decided to pick it back up after months of not playing it, and I was entranced, and it was one of the only games I played for the next 2 weeks until I beat it. And I am so glad I did. It is such an amazing game that I will never forget my first playthrough of. Fear of missing out, or FOMO, plays a huge role in our modern lives. We are constantly bombarded by seeing what others are doing with their lives, wishing we could be like them, and comparing ourselves to them. This is especially apparent in the gaming space. As soon as a new big or widely anticipated game is released, that is all you see people playing on social media for the next month, or sometimes even longer. Seeing that everyone is having a great time playing this game and talking about it, you want to be included on this. So you drop whatever game you're in the middle of, just so you can be included in these conversations, as it brings you a sense of community, and that is a great feeling to experience. But with the amount of games releasing in close proximity to each other, you just constantly repeat this cycle of buying the hot new game just so you can be included. And yes, you will likely enjoy your time with these games, but in doing this, you are likely trying to speed through at least the story so you can join in on any conversation about the game without being spoiled. But in this rushing, you are losing part of the joy of playing the game. All of a sudden, it goes from a fun experience that you may cherish to just a means to an end so you can feel included. So if you feel pressured to play a new game just because your friends or the general public says everyone needs to experience it as soon as possible, just slow down and take your time with the game. You will likely have a better experience with it this way and are more likely to form lasting memories from your time with the game. This somewhat ties into being a maximizer, but when you have limited time that you are available for gaming, you may want to spend it playing a brand new game with friends, or going back to play a game that you've played many times before and holds nostalgic value. These are both valid uses of that time, but if you are going to do this, and also continue to buy newly released games, but only playing a little bit and then dropping it for the next one, it won't have as big of a payoff. Sure, in the short term it may seem fine, but then you look back and realize that you may have almost 100 games. Most, if not all, that you enjoy, but you have not finished a single one. This can lead to a sense of guilt, but you can't let it be that. You need to realize that this is something that is bothering you, and you need to make a conscious effort to do something to change this. It doesn't have to be that you only play the games that you haven't finished. You can still play games with friends or replay others. You just have to start small. Even if you just play an hour of a game each day, this will help you progress through these games and give you a sense of accomplishment, which will in turn encourage your brain to want you to do this, and then all of a sudden, you've built up a new habit that is fun and rewards your brain with dopamine, making it great for completing games, but also increasing the quality of your life. You also need to realize that there is more to life than just gaming, so make sure you make time for whatever else is important to you, whether that be spending time with family, playing sports, reading books, etc. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and maybe even learned something new. Leave a comment down below if you struggle to finish games, and why. I would appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe, as it helps the channel out a ton. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and good gaming to you all.